Heartbreak. It sucks, but it's a part of life. The feeling of being rejected or of having a relationship break apart is definitely one of the worst offerings on the extensive menu of feelings life has on tap. There is a universality to it, though, that I think makes it particularly powerful as a storytelling tool. Especially in the romance genre, which is entirely centered around relationships, heartbreak is the balancing force to the love that permeates the rest of the shows that I cover on this channel. Many Losing Heroines was an anime I had on my watch list for a while before finally getting around to it a few weeks ago. Before anything else, I need to mention how this series was like an endless flashbang of voices that I recognized from other anime. That first episode was an endless cycle of pausing the show to look up another actor on my anime list to see where I'd heard them before. What we're here to talk about today, though, is how this show captures heartbreak. In broad terms, I think that there are two kinds of heartbreak: swift, sharp rejection, and a longer, more drawn-out, crushing process that snuffs out love. Many Losing Heroines is interesting to me because of how it captures the full spectrum of heartbreak, and also how we all learn to move on after that initial moment of loss. In addition, in a slight shift for love and anime as a series, we'll take a little time to offer up other examples of heartbreak in anime and compare them to Many Losing Heroines. Don't feel like you need to have seen these shows, though. I'll make sure to give spoiler warnings and also keep things at a top-down level for these comparisons, so anyone could follow along. Enough messing around, though. Let's talk about it. Many Losing Heroines wastes no time in jumping into our central topic today. The opening scene involves Anna admitting her feelings to her childhood friend, Sosuke, while simultaneously pushing him to get with her friend Karen. This moment solidifies her as the first of our titular losing heroines, characters that are the losers in their romantic stories. Two others, Chica and Lemon, round out our main friend group, and they are actually the first people that I want to look at today. Each one represents one of the halves of heartbreak that I mentioned earlier, the different ways that love can hurt. Let's start with Chica. Introverted and quiet, but with a biting tongue, she starts the series clearly in love with Shintaro, the president of the literature club. However, she has a clear rival in Koto, Shintaro's childhood friend. The big twist happens during the club's training camp, where Chica overcomes her anxiety and confesses her love to Shintaro in front of everyone. It's a dramatic moment, full of the beautiful lighting and colors that define the show. But of course, Chica is doomed to be a losing heroine like the rest of them, and Shintaro turns her down. At the end of it, she was merely a catalyst for Shintaro and Koto to finally get together. By the end of that one night, Chica has been rejected and her crush has a girlfriend. It's a highly concentrated form of heartbreak, where the love never really got off the ground before burning out. The worst part of it is that she really did have a chance, too. Shintaro gave it serious thought, and the moments that the two shared together beforehand clearly meant something. What makes this heartbreak really sting is how it impacts all of the relationships around it. Chica's relationship with Shintaro is obviously different, even if they reconcile after. Her entire dynamic with both him and Koto changes after this, their friend group dissolving slowly even if they don't harbor any ill will towards each other. On the other hand, though, this does in a way push her close to the rest of our main cast. This bright flameout also in a way frees her from some of the restraints of being a losing heroine, and her storyline in the back half of the season is much more about loneliness and responsibility than it is about romantic love. Lemon, on the other hand, has a much more drawn-out form of heartbreak. She is in love with Mitsuki, her childhood friend, and it's clear that she has been for a while. This sort of long simmering, unrequited love is a drag in and of itself, but we also learn early on that Mitsuki has a girlfriend, Chihaya. This comes as quite a shock to Lemon, but not in the same way that Chica faced rejection. No, Lemon's prolonged longing gets its own protracted form of heartbreak. After learning of Chihaya, the destructive process has only begun inside of Lemon. She stews on this for a while, dying from the regret and having to see her love with someone else. Then, in a particularly awkward moment, she lets slip that she loves Mitsuki. But even that doesn't bring things to a swift end. She runs off, and only later does she finally talk with Mitsuki and start to come to terms with the rejection of her love. Even that has its own strings attached though, with that beautiful scene of the two of them holding hands as they walk home. Love like this doesn't disappear in an instant, and that means that Lemon's heartbreak is a slow affair. Unlike Chica's heartbreak though, which had an impact on all of her relationships like in Aftershock, Lemon finds a truer form of reconciliation. Though it may be painful, both she and Mitsuki don't want to lose all of their love for each other, and Lemon even finds a way to become friends with Chihaya. It's a fun inversion for the show to set things up this way. Based on their personalities, you would guess that someone outspoken and confident like Lemon would be the one to confess suddenly, and someone quiet and reserved like Chica would stew on her feelings for longer. Flipping those expectations makes both of their characters feel fresher. There's one more aspect of heartbreak that I think Too Many Losing Heroines really nails, and it's something shared across all of our protagonists. The really tough part of rejection is the moving on, letting go of those feelings you had become accustomed to and ceasing to see the person you liked as a romantic interest. It's like a rewiring of your brain. What I love about this anime is how it highlights the difficulties of moving on. Our heroines go on living their lives, have the usual ups and downs, but their heartbreak will poke its head at the most inopportune times. They don't immediately jump into new romantic interests. They grieve what they've lost and lean on their friends for support. I suspect that this series will eventually move towards romance between at least a couple of our protagonists, and I think that this was a perfect first season to set that up. Forcing in any active romance would have undercut the awesome character work the series achieved here, and now there's a great foundation to build further feelings upon. The first season of Too Many Losing Heroines was basically about all of the different ways someone can experience heartbreak, and how you learn to move on afterwards. As I watched through the season, I thought of a couple of different times I had seen these same archetypes of heartbreak at work. Almost immediately, Hina from Blue Box came to mind. If you're interested in seeing what happens at the end of Season 1 for yourself, jump forward to the timestamp on screen. If not, or if you've seen it already, Hina is essentially the odd man out in Blue Box Season 1, the losing side of the love triangle. Her heartbreak, though, reminds me more of Chica's. We know that she's in love with Taiki from the start, but also that he's clearly in love with Chinatsu. However, like Chica, she has a real shot at winning the love triangle. As the season goes on, we see her swaying Taiki with her love. The first OP clearly has Chinatsu at its center, but by the time the second OP rolls around, they're on even footing. When Taiki finally rejects her, it's a hard break. She is completely devastated, inconsolable. The hopelessness to the situation again reminds me of Chica, where there's nothing to do but cry it out. And afterwards, she is at a distance from Taiki. It impacts their friendship clearly, pushes them apart. Moving on to Yui from my teen romantic comedy Snafu, this is much more in line with the heartbreak Lemon experiences. Her love for Hachiman percolates through all 3 seasons of the show, and crucially, her heartbreak is dragged out forever as well. By the end of season 2, it's becoming clear that she is not going to beat Yukino for Hachiman's heart. And yet, she has to try, reaching out to Hachiman over and over and getting almost nothing back in return. She gets rejection in the form of Hachiman confessing to Yukino, not a denial of her own feelings. Another great parallel with Lemon. Yui gets slowly crushed under her feelings for Hachiman, and it truly comes to consume her. Even with that awful season 3 OVA, we see that she hasn't given up her love. Though I personally choose not to really give this much credence as canon. Yui is trapped between love and friendship, where her worst fear is losing either of Yukino or Hachiman. This freezes her in place, trapped in a prolonged heartbreak for basically all of the third season. Even if all three of these shows are very different in style and execution, it's interesting to see how big themes like heartbreak can draw such clear parallels across their divides. Too Many Losing Heroines' first season is a show about heartbreak disguised as a rom-com. I mean, make no mistake, there's romance and it's plenty funny, but the core theme is clearly the pain that love can cause and how we move past it. In its specific Losing Heroines, there's a clear divide in the ways that you can actually experience heartbreak. Most of all, though, I just want to say that I really enjoyed this first season. I'm really excited that a second season is in the works. It wasn't immune to some of the crassness and eye-roll-inducing moments the romance anime genre offers, but its central through-line of friendship and the complicated nature of relationships was really refreshing, and the show was flat-out gorgeous to look at. A winner in my book. And that ends this week's episode of Love and Anime. I hope that you enjoyed the little change to the love and anime formula. What did you think of it? Did having outside shows risk turning you off to the video if you haven't seen them? Could I smooth things out in some way? Let me know below. And if you enjoyed, liking and subscribing helps a ton, as does hitting the hype button on the mobile app. As always, I'm SlamAnime, and I'll see you on Monday for Split Screen.